The MLB postseason started on Tuesday. Today, it felt like the playoffs started. Let's talk about it on All Dodgers. Coming at you live from my mom's basement in Pleasant Grove, Utah. This is the All Dodgers podcast, part of the Believe network of podcasts brought to you by FanDuel. I am Jeff Snyder. It's just me tonight. Clint is still camping. He'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll do a show tomorrow night with both me and Clint. Maybe Kevin. I don't know. Kevin is busy with his wife or something. I don't know. But the Dodgers played game one at NLDS today. And against all odds, they won the game. Like, I don't think I'm speaking out of school, talking out of turn, blowing smoke to say that when the Dodgers went down 3-0 with the way Christopher Sanchez was pitching, it felt like I don't give up on games, obviously. Like, there's no point in giving up on a game, but it felt like a very uphill battle from that point. And when they, I see the chat's going to be fun tonight. Yeah, it was one of those games where you're like, if the Dodgers come back and win this game, they're really back because, so much to talk about. I'm not going to recap the game. That's not really the point of this. I know you all watched the game, but there's some interesting stuff that happened. Going to talk about the offense first, and then we'll talk about the pitching because both sides were really good at times and, scary at times. But talking first about the offense, and unfortunately, sometimes with Teoscar Hernandez, when you talk about the offense, you also have to talk about the defense because that came into play too. We'll talk more about Teo's defense when we're talking about the pitching. Shohei Ohtani's one bad inning. But on the offensive side, there was some really interesting stuff that happened that kind of, not behind the scenes, but kind of the deeper game stuff for the Dodgers' two rallies. They scored 2 runs on a hit by Kiké Hernandez. They scored 3 runs on a hit by Teoscar Hernandez. The Hernandez brothers come through again. And, where have we seen that before? And it was huge. So first I want to talk about Kiké. It's the 6th inning. Jonathan Sanchez had been cruising. The Dodgers did not have an answer for that changeup. They couldn't even find the answer, stop swinging at it. It was, he was dominating. But then in the 6th inning, they started to figure it out. They got some runners on base. They started a rally and ultimately knocked him out of the game. Now here's where it gets interesting because the Phillies had David Robertson warming up in the bullpen. And when Kiké came up, seemed like Robertson was probably warm. Sanchez had pitched a good game, but we know, I saw Matty Man in the chat asking if I believe in Keektober. And yeah, I am believing a bit more in Keektober. I mentioned in our Discord, it helped me believe it more because he started hitting better at the end of the regular season, because that was always my concern. I have always believed that Kiké is better in the postseason. Absolutely. My concern was better than regular season Kiké still might not be good because Kiké was really bad for most of this season, but he started to pick things up at the end of the season. And so, okay, if he can be better than that September version, even better than that's good. And that's what we've seen so far. And, we kind of had this feeling, like I assume you guys did too. I did, where when they left Sanchez in to face Kiké there, I'm like, this is a very risky move, especially because, they had the righty Robertson warmed up. Kiké, he wasn't good against either side this year. He was quite a bit better against lefties than against righties. Against lefties, he was almost league average. Against righties, he was backup catcher level hitter against right-handed pitching. Doesn't mean he wouldn't have got the 2-run double off of David Robertson, but the odds, and then they bring in Robertson, the next batter, to face Call when everybody knew, well, Dodgers are just going to pinch hit for Alex Call with Max Muncy. They have Muncy on the bench. They weren't going to pinch hit for Kiké Hernandez with Max Muncy. Kiké was staying in that game. And so, Robertson ended up getting Muncy out, but Sanchez did not get Kiké out. I thought that was a blunder on Rob Thomson's part, at least from what I can tell. I'm pretty adamant that, managers know more about what's going on in the moment. Maybe Robertson wasn't warm. Maybe I even thought I saw, like, Thomson in the Phillies dugout giving JT Realmuto the go talk to him sign to kill time to let Robertson finish warming up. And then, so I was like gearing up for a mound visit. And the next thing I know, Sanchez is back on the mound getting ready to pitch to Kiké. I'm like, okay, I guess they're going to let him face Kiké. And it came back to bite him. It was huge. That got the Dodgers back in the game. They were still down 3-2, but there's a huge difference between 3-0 and 3-2. I know that's obvious, but just from a morale standpoint, like, hey, we got to this starter, not got to him, we knocked him out of the game, which means we get 3 1/3 innings against not Christopher Sanchez, which was a big deal tonight. So I thought that was a huge hit by Kiké. Obviously, maybe a blunder by Rob Thomson to let Sanchez face Kiké. And again, like I said, maybe Kiké gets that hit off of Robertson. I definitely think it's less likely because Kiké is worse against righties. So I was happy for that mistake. And then in the 7th inning, things got really interesting. Kiké's hit came with 2 outs. And then in the 7th inning, Dodgers got first and second with nobody out. And the top of the lineup coming up. You're like, okay, we're only down by 1. We should at least, tie the game here. Then Shohei strikes out, Mookie pops up. It was a rough game offensively for both of those guys. I think combined 0 for 9 with 1 walk. Yeah, Shohei walked, but on base 1 out of 10 times for the top of the order. Not great, Bob. Shohei struck out the 4 times he didn't walk. So it was a 2 true outcomes night for Shohei. But, as I'll talk about in a minute, he did okay on the other side of the ball. So we can deal with that. But anyway, so suddenly they go first and second, nobody out, to first and second, 2 outs, and Teoscar coming up. Teoscar had struck out all 3 times he was up before that. Teoscar looked like he didn't have a chance against Sanchez. And honestly, he didn't. Like, his only chance was to go up there and just not take the bat off his shoulder and hope that he just threw him a bunch of changeups out of the zone. Instead, he went up there and swung at all the changeups out of the zone. Teo, that's why it was such a big deal in the 6th inning to knock Sanchez out of the game, to give Teo a chance to face somebody who wasn't Christopher Sanchez. In this case, it was Matt Strahm. And I don't know if you guys have seen this on social media, kind of interesting stuff. There's a guy on Twitter called The Warmonger, who is he's actually a Phillies fan, but he's a good follow. He and I follow each other. He's always talking about catch probability and stuff, like looking things up. And he tweeted a picture of Andy Pages. Clearly, he can see into Matt Strahm's glove, and he's signaling to Teoscar Hernandez what pitch is coming. And Warmonger says if Strahm's going to show the runner the inside of his glove and his grip, of course the Dodgers are going to take that. And then this other, he followed up on that. The previous plate appearance to bet, Pages is clearly on it. In this one, you can see Andy Pages like leaning to get a good view of Strahm's glove. So say what you will about Andy Pages' base running. He nailed it there. And if you're not aware, this is absolutely legal, and this is good baseball, because this is using your eyes on the baseball field, and the pitcher is not hiding his grip. Yeah. And I don't know if the pitch tipping like that is why Teoscar hit the 3-run homer, but Teoscar hit a 3-run homer, and suddenly they go from down 3-2 to up 5-3. And just that feeling of elation, that's when I knew that the playoffs have really started at this point, because like I get excited when the Dodgers do good things in the regular season, but not that feeling that I had when Teo hit that home run. That was like this is postseason happy. There's postseason sad that we've all experienced. There's postseason happy. And for me, they're both totally different than regular season sad or regular season happy. And just huge. So I have a super chat. I want to hop in. Swollen Sausage, $1.99. Jeff needs some super chats. Big win tonight. Go LA. And then 500 yen from Tim G. Huge comeback win. Thanks for everything, Jeff. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And yeah, like I am going to try to keep my eyes on the chat. It's going to be hard. You guys know I'm not great at multitasking, talking and looking at the chat at the same time. Matty Man says, didn't think Pages was capable of that. Yeah, like Pages gets a bum rap. I think fans are sometimes too quick to label somebody dumb when they make a mistake. Like Andy Pages, he'd make some bad base running mistakes and stuff, but the dude knows baseball. Like, he is a smart baseball person, and that's why I'm relatively confident that over time he will even become a better base runner. I think it's more about the level of competition, getting used to the fact that, oh, I'm in the major leagues now. These guys are going to make their throws. They're going to make their tags, all that stuff you could get away with at lower levels. And we saw it with Yasiel Puig too, and other guys who are so talented that they end up in the big leagues when they're still young. So the mistakes that a lot of us, and speaking of Americans, really, like, who played high school baseball and then maybe college baseball, it's like you learn all this stuff along the way, and then 4 years in the minor leagues. Whereas some of these other guys, especially coming from, Puig and Pages are both from Cuba, where the level of competition and everything, it's just different. And so, but so talented that you can't justify leaving them in the minor leagues. And so a lot of the mistakes that we would make in high school baseball, they're making in the big leagues. And we're like, I learned not to do that in high school baseball. And they're like, I didn't play high school baseball. Like, I've been playing professionally, but in a different country, and it's a different world. And so I think all that to say, I think we're too quick to label Andy Pages dumb when he makes mistakes. I think he's just kind of learning on the job still, certain things. And, but yeah, this pitch tipping thing, like, it was huge. I hope that we get more information on it. Like, I'm sure the Dodgers are going to be unlikely to comment on it, especially within the series. I mean, Matt Strahm is going to pitch again, probably in 2 days. And the fact that this guy, Warmonger, is a Phillies fan, has a lot of Phillies fan followers, I assume this information is going to get back to the Phillies if they didn't know it already. That's he's probably going to clean it up, but it's going to be in his head. And fact is, even if it only worked the one time, it worked the one time, and we will take it. Couple more super chats real quick. Dry Pro Toss, $2, asked me, did the stress pillow survive the 8th inning? Yeah, we'll talk about the 8th inning in a minute. The stress pillow was next to me on the couch. I didn't touch it today. It was almost there. We were almost there. Stockton Slap 209, $1.99 asked the same thing. Did you hold your pillow tightly today? Yeah, I was near it, but I didn't actually use the pillow today. Seth Klein, $5 super chat, says, didn't think I'd be saying this at the beginning of the year, but Pages is good at baseball. And yeah, I mean, Pages definitely does some things well, has some things to learn, but if he can pick up pitches and relay them to the hitter, that's a pretty big deal. Real quick, I do want to look at the FanDuel odds, our sponsor FanDuel. You remember the Dodgers were already favored to win this series. Well, now that they've won the first game on the road, boom, look at that. They are now at minus 330 to win the series. Phillies at plus 260. Dodgers heavy favorites to win it now. They've already stolen home field advantage. Like I was talking about with Kevin yesterday, I wanted them to win game one because then you've stolen home field advantage. Now, worst case scenario, you split on the road and you have home field advantage going forward. Now we can get greedy and try to take both games on the road, and then the Dodgers just need to win one of two at home and don't even come back to Philadelphia. Just make it happen. And the Dodgers have Snell and then Yamamoto, who are both really good pitchers. So, and the Phillies used their best pitcher today. Like, for the Dodgers to win this game, especially after being down 3-0, it feels like they stole a game today. And to that point, you look at the odds for the game on Monday, game 2, Blake Snell against Jesus Luzardo. Dodgers are currently at minus 122 to win that game. Dodgers favored. They win that game, then head back to LA with a chance to sweep the series. And I am absolutely down with getting totally greedy and just don't even give the Phillies a chance to get back in this series. That would be my preference, of course. See people saying they miss Kevin. I miss Kevin too, but he's got stuff going on. Miss Clint too. I do think I'm okay at this, and so I hope you guys do too. Let's talk about the pitching side of things. Shohei Ohtani was outstanding. He had one bad inning, the third inning. Third inning? Is that when it was? Second inning, sorry. 3 runs, second inning. That's where the 3 was coming from in my dumb brain. And even that one maybe shouldn't have been as bad. Teoscar Hernandez played a double into a triple. Probably a 1-run double. Realistically, though, that second run would have scored, even if it scored on the sac fly that eventually scored Real Muto from third. But the fact is, with better defense in right field, that would not have been a 3-run inning. It would have only been a 2-run inning. But it was still a 2-run inning. Whether it's 2 or 3, officially it was 3. They were all earned because Teo didn't make an error. He just didn't get to the ball. And the leadoff walk came back to bite Ohtani in that inning. That is generally a thing that will happen. You don't want to walk the leadoff guy. That was Ohtani's only walk of the night. It was the only runs he allowed of the night. It was 2 of the 3 hits he allowed on the night. The entire Phillies offense against Shohei Ohtani happened in the second inning. The other 5 innings that Ohtani pitched, he was lights out. Absolutely outstanding. Got through 6 innings on 89 pitches. Just a great performance from Ohtani. And like I said, he was bad at the plate tonight. 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts and a walk. The Phillies MVP contender, Kyle Schwarber, was nearly as bad. He was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. You could say he was worse maybe because he didn't even have a walk to add in. He was just 0 for 4. But the Dodgers MVP candidate reminded us, he's not just the MVP because of what he does with the bat. He can also go out and throw you 6 innings, 5 of which are outstanding, and be the winning pitcher. Because it was the top of the 7th when the Dodgers took the lead, which means Ohtani was still the pitcher of record. So Ohtani is the winning pitcher in this game. And then you have holds from Tyler Glasnow and Alex Vesia and a save from Roki Sasaki, just like the Dodgers drew it up. Like, imagine a month ago saying, hey, first game of the NLDS, Tyler Glasnow gets a hold and Roki Sasaki gets a save. Not really what we would have imagined, but Glasnow came in the 7th, pitched really well in the bottom of the 7th, got into trouble in the 8th. It's the 8th inning, but each 8th inning so far this postseason has gotten incrementally better. They went from allowing 3 runs in the 8th inning to allowing 2 runs in the 8th inning to today not allowing any runs, just loading the bases, making things scary. Phillies had bases loaded, 2 outs. Glasnow lost control a little bit. He gave up a hit and 2 walks to load the bases. And Alex Vesia comes in. It was Brandon Marsh coming up. They pinch hit for him with Edmundo Sosa. And Sosa, tell me in the chat, did you guys get a little nervous when Sosa hit that ball? Like off the bat, it reminded me a little bit of the, what's his name? Jose Trevino at bat in the World Series last year in Game 2 when Alex Vesia came in with 2 outs, bases loaded in the 9th inning and got the fly out from Trevino. But when Trevino hit the ball, and you can't tell at first, immediately you couldn't tell that it was off the end of the bat. And you're like, crap, did he just hit a grand slam? Oh, no, lazy fly out to left. That was kind of my same thought with Sosa today. Like he hit the ball and I couldn't tell from his reaction if he was happy about it or mad about it. Dry Pro Toss says Sosa pimped it a little bit. And yeah, it might've been that. I couldn't tell if he thought he got it or not, but I was like, oh no. And then it was just lazy fly, like not even to the warning track in center field. Andy Pages makes the catch, no problem. Got out of that jam. So huge from Vesia, huge from Glasnow. He hadn't pitched in, what did we say, 12, 13 days. He went an inning and 2/3. He threw 34 pitches. His start, if he starts Game 4, it'll be on 4 days rest because that game isn't until whatever day it is, Thursday. Yeah, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of rest. Yeah, because Game 4 I think is on Thursday. So he'll be fine to start in Game 4. Hopefully there won't be a Game 4. But for him to come in, get his work in, and pitch really well. Like he struck out Kyle Schwarber in a big spot. He did then give up a hit to Bryce Harper, but just big stuff from Glasnow, big stuff from Vesia coming and getting Glasnow out of the jam, and then Roki Sasaki. Like I can't say enough about how much fun it is to see Roki Sasaki having this kind of success. And we've talked so much about it. Like we knew he had the stuff. And part of the issue when he was struggling as a starter was that the stuff wasn't there. The fastball was much slower. It wasn't getting the job done. The splitter, he didn't have command of it. Well, now he's just got everything going on. The fastball he's locating, the splitter he's locating. It is hard to hit one of those when you have to be ready for the other, and vice versa. And he did give up a 2-strike hit to Max Kepler. He hung a splitter. Other than that, though, and Kepler ended up getting to third base, but in a 2-run game, you would definitely prefer to not have any runners on base because then the tying run is never up to bat. Instead, the last 2 batters of this game happened with the tying run at the plate, but Roki got the job done. He got a ground out and a pop out to end the game. Just this stuff looked great. He was absolutely outstanding again. And I assume Roki's going to struggle at some point. I hope it doesn't happen this October, but Roki will have his struggles again in the future. I think it's very possible that he just pitches great like this for the rest of the postseason. And I feel good about him at closer. Like when he was warming up, because I was thinking, do they go to Trinan or Tanner Scott? Like I knew they wouldn't go to Tanner Scott, but you've got Blake Trinan who has been better, but then I'm like, no, they got to go to Roki. So when I saw him warming up, I was like, that was just. I was so excited, and he did not let me down. Just really good stuff from Roki Sasaki. And so it's fun to me that this game, I know the Dodgers played 2 playoff games already. They beat the Reds. The Reds were an inferior team to the Dodgers, and the series looked like it. But like I've been talking about the last couple of days, the Phillies are very similar in quality to the Dodgers, even similar in some ways. Good starting pitching, good hitting. There's a lot going on for the Phillies. This game felt like a playoff game. And for this game to end with winning pitcher Shohei Ohtani, save Roki Sasaki, with Tyler Glasnow and Alex Vesia in between, the bullpen combined pitched 3 innings, allowed 2 hits, 2 walks, no runs. Like, hey, I like the no runs part. We'll take it, especially because they came in with a 2-run lead. Got the job done. It is kind of weird that because of the way this schedule is set up, it's because there are days off. There's a day off between games 1 and 2. Like games 3 and 4, Wednesday and Thursday are the only times this series that they could potentially play on back-to-back days. It's almost like an NBA playoff series right now. I don't care much for it because you see things like, hey, the Phillies brought in Yohan Duran because I know we're down by 2 runs, but we have a day off tomorrow and then a day off on Tuesday. So yeah, he could pitch again on Monday, no problem. And then he could pitch again on Wednesday. So there's no downside to using him there, which, works in the Dodgers' favor too. Roki can probably pitch again on Tuesday and then probably pitch again on Monday and then pitch again on Wednesday. But it's kind of weird. It feels like different baseball. And it's been kind of my gripe about the playoff structure over the years, just as we've watched the Dodgers be the best team in baseball and not win it all several times. It's like, well, what's the point of being the best team in baseball if the game totally changes when you get to the postseason? And I still feel that way a little bit. Sorry, I'm just putting in a new piece of gum. My other one lost flavor, and I got to chew gum while I talk to keep my throat moist enough, Yeah, it works in the Dodgers' favor too. And so, like I said, they could use Tyler Glasnow here, multiple innings in relief, and he'll still be on plenty of rest for his Game 4 start. Same thing, Christopher Sanchez will probably start Game 4 for the Phillies if we get to Game 4, and it'll be on 4 days rest. Maybe they would prefer to give him more rest. Somebody called me out for referring to it as short rest, and I've gotten so Dodgerified that I think of only 4 days rest, which is just regular rest, as like, well, that's short, but it's not really. But I would guess that most of the time this year, I didn't think that I was going to mention this, so I'm pulling up Christopher Sanchez's game logs right now to see how many times he went on 4 days rest. So about almost half of his starts were on 4 days rest. The other half, so 14 starts on 4 days rest, 11 on 5, 4 on 6, 1 on 7, and then 8 and the first game of the season, which was 99 days rest or whatever. So it's not short rest, but it is, more than half of his starts this year. Christopher Sanchez has had more than 4 days rest. So it'll be interesting. But anyway, that's all about playoff structure that, it just makes the game a little bit different from the regular season. But this Dodgers team, pitching wise, is built to kind of benefit from this kind of schedule. Another super chat. This one from OCJ, $5. Thanks for going live, Jeff. Good feelings all around tonight. Yeah, I was going to go live win or lose. Definitely more fun to go live with a win. I assume several other channels went live right after the game. I wasn't available right after the game. This is a busy weekend for me. I'm actually really glad the Dodgers don't play tomorrow. I've got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow, and so nice break for me, and then we can focus on Dodger baseball again on Monday. I do want to just talk about a couple other things just since we last talked. Kevin and I talked yesterday about what we expected the roster to look like. And we were right about the 2 pitchers they added to the roster. We were wrong about who they replaced. We kind of assumed that they would go back to a 13 pitcher, 13 position player setup and just drop Justin Dean and maybe Hae-Sung Kim off the roster. Instead, they kept both Dean and Kim, and they dropped 2 pitchers. They dropped Edgardo Enriquez, which wasn't a surprise based on his performance. Obviously it wasn't what I predicted, so I can't say it wasn't a surprise, but definitely nothing surprising about Edgardo himself not being on the roster. And then Justin Robleski, which was kind of interesting, just because Robleski never did get in a game in the wild card series. But Dave Roberts did say that was a hard decision for Robleski because he has pitched well, but Bonda has pitched well too for the last few months of the season. And so see what they're doing. And I kind of talked a couple weeks ago when we were talking about pitching staff about the fact that they might go, alternate series for guys who, if you have 2 guys who deserve to be on the roster, say, okay, you're off the roster this series, not because you deserve to be off the roster, but because of the way our roster plays out, sets up. This was, but in hindsight, looking at it now, like, because of what I was just talking about with the playoff format, with all the off days and everything, you really don't need more than 11-man pitching staff, especially when your game 1 starter isn't a pitcher, according to the roster. Shohei Ohtani is a hitter who's allowed to pitch. And so realistically, their 11-man pitching staff is actually 12 people, and they can use these guys multiple days. And so really, you're probably not going to need more than 11 pitchers, especially with how good the Dodgers starting pitching has been. I think it's the right move. I wish I had realized it was the right move when we were talking about it yesterday, but it's okay. It's good to be wrong sometimes. Steve Seahawk Schmidt says the best use of Tanner Scott is with his butt perched firmly on the bench and nowhere near a baseball. And that's what we've seen so far from him. I do think we will see Tanner Scott in a game at some point this postseason, but it's clear that they are not going to him in high leverage situations. And I think we're all okay with that. I assume they're working behind the scenes on him with stuff. And I would guess that they're hoping to find a situation to put him into a game. With all the lefties on the Phillies, I assume we will see Tanner Scott at some point. But I don't think anybody's heartbroken that we haven't seen him yet so far. Team Ruiz says Dave Roberts deserves absolutely 0 credit for the win. I wouldn't say absolutely 0. I would say that what I've said before, managers in general get too much credit and too much blame. I thought Dave Roberts managed pretty well tonight, but I also think that the players have to play. And if Alex Vesia had come in and given up a 3-run double, then it would have looked like Dave Roberts didn't manage as well. Like, it's when the players play well, the manager looks smarter. And so the players played well tonight, and so Dave Roberts looked smart. Obviously, people who already hate Dave Roberts and think he's a terrible manager are going to continue to think that, because that's how human brains work. They make a decision and they ignore evidence to the contrary, and they gather evidence that supports their position. And that's, what we all do in certain things. And it's something we should all strive to overcome. Confirmation bias in any aspect of life. We should be open to information that contradicts what we think is right, at least every once in a while, just in case every once in a while you might be wrong about something. But that roster stuff was interesting. beyond that, like it was just a fun baseball game. Like it was one of those games that kind of made me wish that I didn't care who won, because just as a baseball fan, like this, if this had been whatever game, the Yankees Blue Jays game or any other game, it would be like, oh, this is good baseball. I'm enjoying this. As a Dodger fan, it was stressful and exhilarating when they took the lead, and even when Kiké got the double, like he was like, okay, we're in this thing, which it hadn't felt like we were in it before that, but it felt like we were in it when he got that double, and Teo's home run, like it was exhilarating, and then the eighth inning was stressful, and the ninth inning, even though Roki pitched really well, giving up that one hit in a 2-run game made the rest of the game stressful, and that's fun. It's fun. I'm glad that the postseason is only 1 month a year. I'm glad that I don't care about other sports, so I never have to feel this about a Super Bowl or a playoff game in the NFL or the NBA playoffs or hockey playoffs. I don't have to feel it, and I'm glad, because 1 month a year is plenty for me. Give me this stress in October and never again. People asked about my stress pillow. The pillow is out. We decorated for fall last weekend. And one of the decorations is the Halloween pillow that my wife cross-stitched. A little design on it says it's got some trick or treat line on it or something. It's a cute little pillow, but it is my stress pillow when I'm here at home. Obviously, for Freddie's Grand Slam last year, I was on the road. I was in my friend's house that he rents out, and so it was a different pillow. I might be in that house again during this year's World Series, possibly. Don't know for sure, but the stress pillow is available, and I would guess Monday it might get some use. We'll see. But I think I'm just Denny Cortez agrees with me. Says, Jeff, it's stressful. LOL. Yeah, it really is. Tim G, there's no ghost runner in the playoffs. No, there's not. Thank goodness. I wonder if that is in reference to maybe one of the other games that's going on right now. Is there a game that's in extra innings right now? Oh, it is. The Tigers and Mariners are in extra innings. No ghost runner. Next, in the postseason, they decided to play real baseball. You would think if they're smart enough to know that we should play real baseball in the postseason, that would, the transitive property of real baseball would tell you, well, then we should, it's not real baseball when we do it in the regular season. But I understand why they do it, but I don't have to like it. So, that's a fun game. Other stuff around the league, the Blue Jays blew out the Yankees and the Brewers blew out the Cubs. Jackson Chourio did tweak a hamstring in that Brewers win, which could come into play if the Dodgers and Brewers both advance to the next series. Jackson Chourio missed time late in the season with a hamstring issue. If that's a lingering thing, that could end up being a big deal for the Brewers. Swelling sausage. Sorry. I didn't see your super chat. Sorry about that. $1.99. Do you think Clint is making s'mores or sausages right now? Probably s'mores. I don't know. I haven't checked his agenda, but Clint seems like a s'mores guy. I don't think that was a fat joke. If it was, I'm allowed to say it because, I'm fat too. I know I weigh more than Clint, but that's partly because I'm a foot taller than him. So we're both pretty chunky, juicy, thick boys, as we like to say. Devin in the chat says this umpire in the Seattle-Detroit game sucks. Looks like it's Alex Tossi, home plate umpire. I haven't watched any of this game. Looks like the Tigers just went down in the top of the 10th, so the Mariners will be coming up in the bottom of the 10th with a chance to walk off that game. That's fun. Pat Dwyer says, I've never said the word that Jeff doesn't say so loud in my house when Teo hit the homer. He says a word that Jeff doesn't say. Yeah, there's a lot of words I don't say. I am interested to know which word that I don't say it was that you said, Pat. So let me know. Just scrolling through the chat. Historyman0828 says, Jeff, did you give a beard a trim? It looks good though. No, it hasn't gotten trimmed in a few weeks. What you're seeing is when I don't have my headphones on, my face looks slimmer because the headphones are like, they make it round. Like my head looks round now. Without the headphones, it's a little bit slimmer. It's still a round face, obviously, big fat head. But So anytime I take the headphones off, people think I got a haircut or a beard trim or something. I do need to trim the beard a little bit, but it's not too out of control. As the sides get fluffier, I look more and more like Santa Claus because the sides are much whiter than, there's still some brown hiding in parts of this, but yeah, that's what you're seeing here. Didn't do anything, just took off the headphones, and it's kind of like wearing vertical stripes is slimming. Taking off your headphones is slimming too, I guess. Scrolling through the chat, Ken Wolcott says, what do the Phillies, the Liberty Bell, and Philadelphia Plumbers have in common? They're all showing some cracks. Bang, bang! Ken Wolcott definitely has earned the right to tell dad jokes, and that's definitely one of them. I like it, though. Ray Soto says Harrison Bader tweaked a hammy, too. I didn't catch that. Like I said, I don't know if I did mention this. I actually watched most of this game on mute. So is that why they sent Nick Castellanos up to hit him Harrison Bader's spot, tweaked hammy? Yeah, I have a lot of stuff going on this weekend, so I had other stuff on my TV and then the game on my laptop on mute. And so I wasn't able to hear broadcasters, so I didn't know the story behind Castellanos pinch hitting, but maybe that was it. That could help the Dodgers too, because Bader is much better defensively than Castellanos. I know that's for sure. And Pat just asked what we know about Bader's injury, and that's something, like I said, I hadn't. If anybody has seen any news about Harrison Bader's, like I said, I didn't even know that he had tweaked anything. So if you do have any news, throw it in the chat, and I will try to not miss it. Got a couple more super chats that came in. Noah Ortega, $1.99 says, I can confirm that Jeff is taller than Clint. Yeah, it's not even close. I might be I'm sure I'm exaggerating when I say a foot taller, but I'm sure it's at least 8 inches. And phrasing, all that stuff. Pat Dwyer, I jumped up and said, word that Jeff doesn't say. Yeah. Okay. So it was the word that I don't say. $4.99 super chat to tell me that. Thanks, Pat. I like when people give me money to answer my question for me. William Andrews says, heard it was a hamstring. So yeah, Nick Leva, probably not the Nick Leva, says Bader has groin tightness. But Seth Klein says he thinks it was a strain. But yeah, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. Harrison Bader's injury. If it's bad enough that they replace him on the roster, you remember if you get taken off the roster for an injury, you're ineligible to play in the next series. So they would be cautious if they don't know how long it's going to be. They might not take him off the roster immediately because that would make him ineligible to play in the NLCS if they were to beat the Dodgers. So they could be playing shorthanded, which would also be good news for the Dodgers. Yeah, that's I think that's about all I've got for today. Like I said, fun game. I was going to do an episode win or lose, but man, wins are so much more fun to talk about. I know the losses do better numbers sometimes. I don't care. I like talking wins, and it's more fun. Not as much complaining about the manager. Still some, obviously, because some people can't help themselves. But talking about a Dodgers win is fun. Hopefully we can talk about another Dodgers win on Monday and then another one on Wednesday and then take a couple days off before the NLCS. Whatever it is, though, we're in good shape. Like I said, going into this series, win 1 of 2 in Philadelphia, ideally game 1. Now we can get greedy, go for the game 2 win. Blake Snell against Jesus Luzardo. I like our chances. Dodger, if Blake Snell can show up and the offense can show up, and like we saw tonight, offense doesn't need to show up all together, doesn't need to dominate like they did the Reds. Just get a couple big innings and get the job done. And they got it done tonight. Hopefully get it done again on Monday. I think that Clint and I will probably be doing an episode tomorrow. I can't confirm that yet, but NS in the chat says I'm picturing Clint at 5'6" and Jeff at 6'6". I think 5'6" is close on Clint. I claim 6'3". I used to be a legit 6'3". I'm now elderly and fat, and so I'm 6'2.5", but I still claim 6'3". And so when both of my sons, as soon as they got taller than me, I said, "You're officially 6'3" because I'm not going down. So and my 16, he's not 16, my 18-year-old, when he was 16, he got to a legit 6'3", and then he stopped growing. My 14-year-old, he's 14 now, he's like almost 6'4" and still growing. I'm 6'2.5" ish. But like I said, I'm sure I weigh more than Clint because of the size, you know. Anyway, join our Discord. We talk Dodgers all the time over there. Go to patreon.com/realfrg. $5 a month gets you access to the Discord, or being a member here on YouTube for $5 a month gets you access to the Discord that way. We always announce our shows there on the Discord. So if you never want to miss a show, join the Discord. You'll always see those announcements. What else? If you haven't subscribed, if you're watching this on YouTube and aren't a subscriber, please subscribe. We are getting so close to the big 20,000 subscriber mark. We are currently 101 subscribers away from 20,000. So if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe now. And that would be great for us. You can, what else? Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you to all you here in the chat. Huge group tonight. Thanks for staying up with me. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for the super chats. I really appreciate those. Thank you to our mods here in the chat. Thank you to the Believe Network. Thank you to our sponsor, FanDuel. And with all that said, I guess I will end it by saying bye.